Welcome, everybody. I want to introduce you to my special guest. We're doing an actual a video version of Hashing Out with the Law. So you'll be able to see this on YouTube as well. My guest today is Ritu Goswamy. And correct me if I butchered that. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's great.
Ritu is an attorney, and she has, as you can see behind her, she has written a couple of books. One of them is called The New Billable Hour, and the other one is The Holistic Lawyer. And I wanted to have Ritu on so she could talk about how she came up with these books and these new concepts. And I know her through some other friends who are really into holistic teachings and holistic ways. And I love how she's incorporated this into the practice of law. Hi, Ritu. How are you?
Hi. Good.
Great to have you on. Could you give us a little bit of background about yourself and how you came up with the new billable hours, please?
Sure. Thank you for having me on. I love the name of this podcast. Love it.
Thank you.
Hashing Out the Law. And okay, so let's see what I'm going to say today. I have been a lawyer for 20 years, which is crazy. And I've done different things in the law, and I always had a side interest, practice in wellness, in meditation, in yoga. I am also a certified health counselor in a science called Ayurveda, which is related to yoga. And I realized practicing law and doing these wellness practices really brought balance to my own life, to my work, more joy to my work. I felt like I could serve my clients better. And I also saw what was happening to our colleagues in the legal profession, how there wasn't balance and how what we were taught was maybe not the best way to sustain ourselves. And then over time, over these 20 years, I see lawyers, suffering from substance abuse, mental health issues, and then lots of suicides. And so I really wanted to bring my wellness into helping lawyers. It's like my passion. Every day I wake up, I'm like, this is what I'm here to do. And the reason is because lawyers are we, I can say this because I'm one of them. We're challenging clients and for our own wellness, for taking care of ourselves. It's very much, we are giving, we're service oriented. No matter what our reputation is in the world, lawyers are here to serve others. And so the new billable hour concept, I basically turned the billable hour concept on its head, because billable hours that's how we measure our worth, our value, by billing. And usually to a client, right? To help somebody. That's what the point is. We want to spend as much time as possible helping somebody else. And so the new billable hour is billing yourself, your lawyer self, ourselves, 1 hour per day for our mindfulness, our wellness, our self-care. And I basically distilled everything I've learned and everything that I personally practiced into this minimum of 1 hour per day. And it's super fun. It's broken down into 0.1 increments. I launched my book and my program 2 years ago, and I've helped a lot of lawyers. I've coached a lot of lawyers through the programs. Lawyers are reading my book, and everybody loves it. They said it's easy. It's easy to read. It's geared towards lawyers, because I know how we all think that we want results fast, and we want something that we can take action on, not just, okay, take care of yourself, okay, do some self-care. This is actually designed to increase productivity, bring work-life balance, like on a broader level, right? Things that can go on.
So let me ask you this:
for a lifetime. Please.
It's not just a book. It's also a program where you teach.
Yes.
People. Okay. So
it's a program. It's a movement, Arash. It's a movement.
I'm sorry. Excuse me.
And you're part of the movement right now.
Well, I'm glad to be. Yeah. But actually, I really love that concept, because a lot of people don't understand, unless they're lawyers, they don't understand the stress that lawyers have, the everyday stress, not just the law practice, but running a business as well. But then the law practice itself, the client comes to you, and now all their problems are your problems. So now you have your own problems and you have the client's problems. Yes. So there's lots of stress on lawyers. And other lawyers understand that, and I'm glad you came up with this movement, the movement. So tell me a little bit more about the movement. So let's say I'm a lawyer. I am a lawyer. Let's say I wanna actually join the movement, and I wanna learn more. Besides reading the book, I wanna go to a workshop or something like that. How do I do that? And how does it entail? How long does it take?
Sure.
What is it like?
So yeah, so it's so interesting because the New Billable Hour is a self-help book. So if people are inclined to do it themselves, I'm very happy for that, and that's why I have it all out there. You can get um, the book is available everywhere and in audio, ebook, print, but you can also get a free download of my book from my website. So let's start with step one. So newbillablehour.com.
Okay.
One like yourself can go there and be like, what is this? Because we're all skeptical. And that's why I wrote a book, actually, and got it published with the publisher. Because I'm like, no, this is a thing. It's trademarked also. The system, the name is trademarked. So it's official, people. So that's the information. It's the 6 lessons broken down into 0.1 increments. What I've seen, though, is it's really hard for us to do ourselves. That's why there are self-help books, but not everybody's doing all the things. We know what to do.
Right.
So I have a couple of programs I run. I have a group program where we meet on Zoom like this. You do the lessons. It's an online course, and the lawyers do the lessons, and then we meet and talk about it. The community part is really important. However, there are lawyers who do not want the community part and feel, I do want to talk about this. I think this is important to talk about, feel some shame, kind of like they're feeling anxiety, they're feeling stressed, they're feeling maybe they want to leave the profession, or they really want to be in the profession but feel like not equipped, or like, well, I did all this and I don't know how I got here, and how do I get out of this? And that's why lawyers are special too, because we care a lot about what our colleagues think. And so I also offer one-on-one coaching. I have other different kinds of programs for wherever the lawyer is. But the main idea is that it's gentle, and it's I teach in a way what I needed, which is like gentle. Like, we're good at discipline and like, knocking it out. Like, okay, I did the lessons, but it's more about how are we doing them? How are we feeling about it? How are we judging ourselves? What's coming up? So I've noticed that when people work with me and I'm able to help them, guide them, coach them through that process, then the practices stay. Even if we lose our discipline, we can bring it back, and you don't ever go back into that same place of anxiety. I'm working now more with lawyers who so I have different levels. We can talk about it next. But I realize then there's like, people are like, now what? So I'm working more with leaders. It's kind of like, okay, once we figured it out and we're doing it, how are we going to lead the profession to its next evolution? Because things have to change. This is crumbling. The billable hour system's crumbling. How we interact with each other, with clients, it's all crumbling, and lawyers are needed. I feel very passionate about this, that lawyers are needed for this next wave of our humanity. People are hurt, and if we are hurting too, we can't help. And so that's where this is going. But the first step, people come to me, they will have all these ideas, and it's like, oh, but I haven't really dealt with my own balance, looking at myself, which is always the first step. So New Billable Hour is always the first step.
Okay. So you said before the book is available everywhere, but people can get it on your website, the newbillablehour.com. Is that what it is?
Yes, for free. Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to go actually after this, and I'm going to download it, and I'm going to read it.
Okay.
So I read it, and then I guess you said there's different levels. So I'm on level 1, right? I read the book. I'm ready to go. I'm level 1.
Yes.
So what is level 1? You teach me about my own balance?
Yes. So you read, I know that's the whole thing too. Lawyers are like, I read it. Now what do I do? You don't need to read it. You can you can read it over. You can read it once. Okay. So then it's creating awareness. So I'm going to tell you the thing, the secret. I usually have to tell people after they completed the course. So every week you'll add in something, either 6 minutes, 12 minutes of a wellness activity that I haven't really gotten I have gotten 0 objections that they're doable. Meditation for 6 minutes, taking a lunch break for 12 minutes, some type of movement during the day for 12 minutes, having a routine at night for 12 minutes. Those are the kinds of things, right? People are like, I want to do that. Oh, thanks for the permission. So you bill yourself. And then when they're incorporated into your life, what it is the action of every day building yourself, like investing in yourself. It changes your whole perspective. It
Right.
changes how we look at life. It's not anymore about the clients, about the judges, about opposing counsel, about I practice immigration law, about the government. It's not so much about that. It's like, whoa, this is about me and how I approach the world. It's super empowering because of that action over and over. It literally changes your brain. Like it changes our lawyer brain, you know, that's so outward, like that liability, that like negativity bias, right? Like there must be something wrong. Someone must be doing something to me, like a victim mentality. So it's totally lifting up the lawyer and empowering by like, okay, I can keep remembering to do these things. I might not do them perfectly. I may, you know, skip things. I may, you know, it may be difficult, but I'm creating that intention, you know, living with intention.
I see. Okay.
That's level 1.
That's level 1. And then how many levels are there?
Right now there are 3, but they're going to be more.
Okay. So when those people on level 3 graduate, we're going to have another.
Yeah, because everyone keeps graduating, so I create more stuff.
Awesome.
I have to stay ahead.
So let me ask you another question. The holistic lawyer book, is that incorporated into the billable hours, or is that a completely?
It's level 2. Thanks for asking.
Okay, level 2. All right. So I read the level 1. I read the new billable hour book. I've graduated level 1, so I go to level 2, the holistic lawyer. Now, tell me about level 2.
Well, first of all, this is timely. I don't know when we're going to release this podcast, but the print book releases April 7th, 2020. Okay. So, and I just recorded the audio, so that'll be out. So I'm going to have an event in San Diego. Any of you in San Diego, come April 17th. Okay. So level 2 is building on level 1. So you have to have done the work, at least, you know, tried to set that intention. And then the holistic lawyer is how to use your whole brain to work smarter, not harder. And so the word holistic is being thrown around a lot. Right. And when I have a lot of definitions for it, but for the book, it's a whole brain perspective. It's about lawyering better. Now that you have some foundation for looking at yourself and your own and being mindful of yourself, it's like, how can we take that next step further? So again, it's a program. Okay. There's 6 lessons.
Okay. So we are going to release this podcast before your event.
Yay.
So go ahead and tell the listeners about your event in San Diego.
April 17th at Run for Cover Bookstore, really a small independent bookstore in San Diego. And it's free CLE. There's going to be 30 minutes of competence CLE. I'm going to give a talk, book signing.
So it's going to be a free event.
Yes.
And then lawyers can get CLE credits?
Yes, well. California lawyers, yeah.
Oh, awesome. All right. So San Diego, and what was the name of the bookstore?
Run for Cover.
Run for Cover, April 17th.
Yes. Friday evening at 5:30. No, 6:30.
6:30?
It's either 5:30 or 6:30. I think it's 6:30.
Okay, awesome. So level 1, level 2. Now let me ask you this. How do you do it yourself? I know you teach others, but you know, they say those who can't teach, but
yes.
Do you also do it to yourself? Do you follow your own advice?
Yes.
Okay.
So the reason I do this is to keep me on track. One of the reasons, I guess. I'm writing my 3rd book about level 3 is about leadership. Okay. And the main thing that I'm teaching is that whatever we do, the work, our livelihood, our service, the higher levels of leadership is you do it for your own personal transformation. It has to be in alignment. And I think there's a lot of misery, and not just the legal profession, in the world when we're not in alignment. And so this is something I feel strongly pulled to serve, and I can't serve if I'm not taking care of myself, and I'm not believing it, and I'm not doing things, and I'm ahead. I'm, more like I have to be on, like, pushing my own edge. Right. And so my own edges, I mean, I can't think of an example of now, but it's all the time. I do things like to always feel like my clients will feel, they might be struggling with a lunch break, which is amazing. I didn't even know that. I beta tested and I had to include that in there because this lunch break has changed the world. So they may be struggling with that. And I'm just like, I love my lunch break, but I'm like, okay, what else am I struggling with? Am I struggling with my sleep? Am I struggling with, my marketing, my money issue, like whatever it is, I put it in that lens. So definitely I do not teach anything I don't do.
Okay.
And I won't give an assignment that I have not done or, I'm doing with the client.
So I know we touched upon this a little bit, but let's go back. Let's go back in time to the morning where you woke up and you said, I'm tired of this lawyer life and I need to change it somehow. Let's go back to that day.
That morning didn't happen.
It didn't?
I'm not tired of the lawyer life.
No, I mean, what was it that finally made you say that I need to come up with this billable hour thing, or the concept that you started doing yourself?
Sure. Got it. So it was like a longer thing, but there was that. You're right. There always is, right? So first of all, I love practicing law, and it's so like, I'm totally like defensive about that. Like, I love it. I can't do it all. I mean, I know you're doing a lot, but it's literally, if I really want this to be a movement, that's why I'm putting more time into it. Okay. I was already doing the practices for myself in all my training programs. I would ask, how do we do this in modern life? How do we, I didn't do an hour. It would be like 5 hours. It would be like all day, like taking care of myself. And I had clients and I would tell them to do things and they would not do, the lawyer clients, they would not do them. And then months later, they'd come back and be like, I read something in the New York Times that meditation and running helps your concentration. And I'm like, I was telling you that. I was telling you to move. And I was telling you. And so I was just like, so I think one moment was like, I have to write a book so the lawyers will listen to me for credibility. Honestly, it wasn't like that. I mean, now I'm like addicted to writing books, but it was for my people. I'm like, I need to create something where there's trust and there's, like it's something that exists, like a system or a program, something that is not just, this is really nice to have. Like, this is what I would like. That's the movement part, right? Like if we all did this and we supported each other, there would be no stigma around it. There would be like, we could lift each other up as opposed to, oh, you take like Fridays off and that must be nice for you. Oh, you left the law. So, like it's really like empowering and community based. So that was like 2 years ago. And I decided to write this book.
You felt the book gave you more authority. Once you wrote the book, people listened to you more?
Yeah. Do you know authority, the author is the root of authority. Yes. And it did, like, it totally is. And so I keep writing. I mean, I think writing and creating things and creating concrete things that work. I also beta tested it. What are people wanting? As far as the actual system, I'll tell you this. The book was I hired a book coach, and the book I wanted to write was Ayurveda for lawyers. So I still wanted to talk about these practices in like this, this woo-woo wellness kind of way. And then my coach is like, no, it's going to sit behind an Amazon link. No one's going to want your book. It has to be something that people want. I'm telling you all my secrets, but if people listen, they should get something, right? Right. Like, so it's like, what hook, what, and I resisted it because I was like, that's selling out. This has nothing to do with billable hours. And my coach didn't give me that. Like, it just literally came to me. I'm like, well, what are my clients, the lawyer clients, it's time, right? It's time, it's billable time. How can I use that to bring it back to what I'm trying to teach? And then like, I just remember I was like fiddling around and thinking of like what I wanted in the book. And I was like, wait, this can like equal 1 hour. It just all kind of
right.
It happens. If you do the new billable hour, lots of epiphanies come. If you do my programs, if you do mindfulness, because then creativity comes. We have a lot of blocks. We stay in our heads. Right. And in the Holistic Lawyer, I talk about this brain integration is really incorporating your emotions, your heart, your gut, your intuition. So really, it's not that I thought it. It literally came. It came as an inspiration. Like, I'm sure people feel a lot about your work, you know?
Right. Right. You said something that caught my attention. You take Fridays off?
I do. I do. And I did when I had my immigration law firm. I did. And then I would like slip off and then get back in. But
That's
yeah,
awesome. That's
yeah,
awesome. Now, I know you have your own podcast.
I do.
So what is the name of your podcast?
It is called the New Billable Hour Podcast.
And where can people listen to it?
So you can go to my website, newbillablehour.com. It's also on YouTube and all the places, like I'm sure yours is on all
Okay.
Apple, what all the things.
By
Google.
the way, for all the listeners, whether you're listening or you're actually watching, we're going to include the links to all of Ritu's podcast, her book, and everything else, so you guys can check it out and join the movement. Because
Yeah, and so I was going to say the first step, while I'm still doing it myself, because in order to take Fridays off, I'm needing to scale and hire people, but I'm do all my consultations myself, and the first consultation is free, and so you can go on my website and click on the link, schedule a consultation, and we can just talk, like no obligation or anything, and I can talk individually about what's going on for you, because I think people like that private discussion.
You're like the lawyer whisperer or something like
I am. I've been called that. Yeah.
There you go. That's awesome. I'm actually going to check this book out myself and see, because I can relate to everything you're saying. And sometimes I tell myself, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start a routine, and maybe I do it once or twice. And by the third day, I fall off again because there's no authority holding me to it. So
yeah. And I don't know your age or your place in your law practice, but I've noticed that there comes a time when we're like, okay, I'll say I'm 45, 20 years practicing, started when I was really young. It feels like, there comes a time, like I think around now, and I'm assuming you're in the same place because I see your success, where we build our success, we do all the things, and it's like, like, is this all? And how do I get to the next level? Because the law, it can be limiting like how the legal profession is. Then we start doing these things. And I think that's why you're doing a podcast. We start writing, we start being an expert in our field of law. I did all those things, and mindfulness and having a routine creates space and creativity that we didn't know we had. And we need that for law. We need that for supervising a staff in a law firm.
I agree with
We need
you.
it for, complicated cases, for, changing the law, all of this stuff. So I've noticed that this is who I want to work with, people like you, because people were kind of tagging me as like, oh, I help like stressed out lawyers. But it's like, sometimes people are so stressed out they can't even, need
They don't
other
even
kind
know
of help.
they're stressed out.
Yeah, or it's like they want to be stressed out, or it's just it's a different population that I'm working with. I want to work with people who really love the law and are like, okay, can I do this with less stress? Can I do this on a more efficient level? Can I have the balance I want? Can I take Fridays off? Can I, create a podcast? Can I write a book? Can I do all those things? Yes. This is what creates space and energy into your life.
By the way, I will be 45 in May. So,
see, I knew it.
And I have been practicing. I'm in my 19th year.
Yeah.
But I feel the same. When I was younger, I wanted to be a lawyer, and that's all I wanted to be. And that was my goal. And once I became a lawyer, it's like, okay, I'm a lawyer now. What's next? What do I do now?
Right.
And you're absolutely right. You get to this point where like, okay, I've done all this stuff. What else is there to do? And it's very, 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 this is why I do the podcast, by the way, so I can learn a lot of stuff.
Right.
Yeah. The new Billable Hour, the new book, Level 2, The Holistic Lawyer, coming in April 17th. Can I ask you to reveal the name of your third book?
Yes. Working title, The Lawyer Leader.
Okay.
It is 7 principles to, I don't know. Maybe you have an idea, but I'm running a mastermind right now, a beta. So for all my books and my programs, I run betas, and it's like my favorite thing. I think that's why I keep writing new books, because I love the beta. People trust me.
Tell us about the betas. For the people who don't know, beta tasting.
I know. That's a tech word. I'm in Silicon Valley. I'm near Silicon Valley. Everything's in beta.
What exactly is beta when you do beta for your books?
So I get an idea, a stroke of inspiration. I want to write this book. Oh wait, are the people gonna how are they going to receive it? It's not about me, right? I'm a leader. And so I ask people, usually through social media, or through the first one, I was literally calling my friends. I'm like, please do this. And it's important that they pay. So that's what's hard too. Because it's like they need buy-in. Because it's like, I could ask you, help me with this. And you're like, all right, when I have time, I'll help you with it. But it has to be like, no, I'm doing this. I'm investing in you, and the book is being created. So I basically run the program one time with this group, this special group, and I always thank them in the back of the book. So you get credit. And they help shape it. So I teach what I'm writing. And then it like gets molded. Because I was like, what was I talking about? Well, the one example about New Billable Hour is I was going to go into nutrition and all the things about food. And then I like show up for that lesson and people are like, we don't take lunch. I'm like, what? Like, I don't have time for lunch. I'm like, all right, let me back this up. And they were like, and they were resistant to take a lunch break. And then I was like, okay, what if it's like 10 minutes? And then they resisted that 10 minutes was too long.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And I remember one day I was just like, do you chew? Do you chew your food? So this is, I didn't invent this. This is about mindful eating. And now that I run it, it's been one of the most effective chapters. I don't know if you've forgotten to take a lunch break. Like, that's what I learned in my wellness, like stop and eat your food, because the lawyers are coming with digestive issues, stress, a lot of that stuff. And I'm like, okay, let's bring it back to basics. How are you putting food in your body?
So that's awesome. Your books, when you say you beta test them, you have the concept or the idea of the book, and then you teach it, and then you incorporate. So it's not a theory, the book, it's actually a workable
You're getting
concept.
it.
Yes.
I love talking to you about it. You get it. It's like such an easy conversation. Exactly. And then with the holistic lawyer, I did the same thing. And so now the lawyer leader, it's more of a mastermind. And I'm teaching these principles. What did I teach? I want to give some juiciness to your podcast.
You already have.
Yeah, but I'll just say a concept and then they look at me blankly. I'm like, okay, what, what's important to you? And what's amazing is I'm teaching a leadership mastermind. I have to learn how to be a leader. And for higher levels of leadership is you're completely in service. Right. Everything you do is completely in service. And so it's not about me knowing more. It's about me helping, so if when the people come in all ready to go saying like, I want to help you, help us. And then I can incorporate that. And it's just so much more satisfying.
That's awesome. That's good to know. So because there's lots of books out there that are just theories, but your book is actually a working concept. That's fantastic.
And they're really, I was going to hold one up. They're really short. You can read them in about an hour and a half.
An hour and a half?
Yeah, the audio is like hour and a half for the New Billable Hour. Yeah. So they're really short. I want them to be more like playbooks, more like practical. I don't put research in there. Honestly, you can go research this stuff. I speak with authority. Things that we already know, I'm putting pieces together in a different way.
That's awesome.
I have a question for you. Do you have so you have a law firm? Do you have staff?
I do have staff, yes.
So my fourth book, this is the problem too. Like usually when I'm like, now I'm like finishing up my beta, I'm like, the next one comes, is the Mindful Law Firm.
Okay.
Because, and it's, that's why I love the consultations. Like, yes, it's, you can hire me, but the consultations with lawyers that I do, I learn a ton. And usually the lawyer gets something out of it too. So that's why I want to encourage people, please sign up for those. And I'm learning from consultations and from my clients, and from everything, from social media, is that lawyer leaders like yourself, I would say you're level 3, you just need to catch up.
Thank you.
So level 4 is to create a mindful law firm. And so I'm hearing this, that lawyers who are having successful law firms, who have done well for themselves, are like, I want my law firm to be cutting edge. I know this mindfulness stuff. I know that this is important. How can I bring that into my firm? And so I do trainings. I do come into law firms and do trainings. I'm going to be doing a couple in April in Oakland and in San Diego. So I all over the country. I work with law firms. And so from that, people are wanting to put some policies people, lawyer leaders, law firm leaders are wanting about our age, 45 to 50, are like, okay, I want my staff, I don't want them to burn out. I want my associates to stay, because
Right.
associates burn out, right? And because we learn like, okay, get associates to do all the work and to stress them out, but that's not sustainable either. And it's like, there must be another way. And so the fourth book that I'm envisioning is more like a policy manual. Like, how can law firms put themselves out there like this? And then the more you do it, you'll have a competitive edge, and then other law firms will do it. And I think this way we can get into big law, because big law is a little slow. So we have to start with the small, medium firms and create a movement around that. The movement keeps moving. Arash.
That's awesome. That's good. That's good. Well, I'm glad to be part of the movement.
You are part of the movement.
Before the episode started, I didn't know that I was going to be part of the movement, but now I am. So
yes.
That's good.
Well, you asking me to be on your podcast, that's when it started. And also, you having a podcast, and I watched some or listened or whatever, and you have this intention of it's a leadership service model, right? Like you want to get information out there, and you want to learn. And
I do. Yeah, I do want to get information out there, but like I said before, it's more for my own selfish reasons of learning myself. I actually learn a lot when I do these podcasts. My guests that come on are from different fields of law, or you know, and I learn a lot when I'm done with the podcast. I'm like, oh, that was pretty interesting. I actually learned something. So even if my listeners don't, I do. So it was a pleasure having you on.
Yes.
It was a pleasure having you on. The newbillablehour.com. People can get your book.
That'll probably transfer, but just newbillablehour.com.
Newbillablehour.com.
The New Billable Hour Podcast.
The New Billable Hour Podcast. And that's how you start the movement at level 1. And then level 2, the book's coming out on April 17th. And we'll be sure to put links in our podcast so people can go to your podcast and your website and get the information.
Yes.
It was a pleasure having you on.
Thank you so much.
You have a great day.
You too.